ChatGPT is here to shake things up.
ChatGPT on a graduate exam.
ChatGPT.
We've all been amazed at ChatGPT's ability to pass all sorts of exams. But I wonder, can ChatGPT pass a McKinsey case interview? Hello, this is Angie. Welcome back to the channel. Probably everyone in the world has heard about the powerful ChatGPT, what it can do, what it's capable of. Yes, I'm definitely amazed by its capability. We already know that ChatGPT can do a lot of stuff. Pass the bar exam, pass the medical test. So today, what I want to find out is, will ChatGPT pass McKinsey case interview? A little bit background by myself. I used to work at McKinsey as a management consultant. I also was a trained McKinsey interviewer. So I do know what are the top criteria that an interviewer will look at during a case interview with a candidate. So I'll apply the same standard that I have for the candidates to ChatGPT and see if ChatGPT is management consultant material. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I have my case questions on the left-hand side. It is directly from the McKinsey website, and then I have my ChatGPT on the right-hand side. In this case, I actually have upgraded ChatGPT, or actually I have upgraded to the premium version, and I'll use GPT-4 because apparently it gives better results, smarter than GPT-3 and 3.5, and as a candidate for consulting interviews, you want to give them the best shot, right? So what I'll do is I'll probably just pick any case, and I will also give live comments on GPT's performance. Let's just do Beautify. All right, so we have a practice case of Beautify. Let's get started. So let's start with some greetings. I mean, it sounds like it's pretty objective. We can help answer some questions. Let's see. All right, perfect. So what I'll do is I'll give the prompt that this is the context, the client is Beautify, or it doesn't really matter if it's Pro to McKinsey or not in this situation. So I'm just gonna copy paste. And for those who are following along, essentially the case is about a Beautify, which is a cosmetic company. And as you may know, if you have ever been to a physical store to buy your skincare or whatnot, you know that traditionally you have at those beauty stores a lot of in-store presence. So there will be people who will be there helping you out, talking to you in person, try and make up on you, and then answer tons of questions. So that's what they call the beauty consultants in this case. And I think traditionally beauty consultants are really important in part of the client experience. So in this case, what we want to find out is that recently consumers are shifting more to online shopping, which is true. I love buying things online. And then a lot of them are actually working in empty stores. Fair. So the president have engaged McKinsey to evaluate if training the majority of beauty consultants to use virtual channel to connect with customer would be profitable for the company. And so in McKinsey, I'll just say engage you and your team. Confirm you under the context if you have any questions. All right, so this is a very standard way, when you do a case interview, after the interviewer give you the context, you will be also given the opportunity to actually ask some additional questions about the client or about the situation. So I'm here giving ChatGPT the same opportunity that a human would. It said that they don't have any questions, so I can proceed. All right, question number 1. Cool. Essentially, the first question is that, Beautify is very excited to support the training of the consultants to be more virtual, and they would be able to sell products through their own pages on beautify.com. Oh, it's almost like TikTok, where everybody get to have their own TikTok page and make appearances. So really they look like they're more become an influencer type model. So the question here is, what are the factors that Beautify should consider when shifting this group of employees toward a new set of responsibilities? Very good question. And yeah, let's see what ChatGPT says. All right, so this part is the classic framework part of the question. It is essentially asking you, in order for us to do this, what are the things that you will have to consider? Typically, we'll give the candidate, a few minutes to think about it, and they'll walk through their answer. But in this case, ChatGPT started writing right away, so pretty good speed, I would say. Let's see. So when shifting beauty consultants towards a virtual social media beauty advisor, they should consider the following factors. All right, it looks like it's structured. Okay, so first, training skill development, ensure they have the right skill. Okay, include social media engagement, digital marketing, content creation. Okay, technology and tools, if they have the right tools to produce the content, fair compensation incentives. How are they incentivized with this new model? Okay, brand consistency, establish guidelines for online content, so you make sure that you are consistent. Okay, performance metrics. So how are the consultants actually being tracked against their success? Legal and compliance, any considerations around online study privacy, intellectual property for the content created? That's very good. Organizational structure, okay, how does that impact the organizational structure and reporting line within Beautify? I don't think this is as necessary because in a context perspective, we already know that they're done via third-party agencies that would find new recruits for a fee. So I don't really necessarily think there is an organizational structure, but maybe because it's now an online presence, so they have to set up something. Change management, okay, so you want to adopt a change management plan to have the consultants adapt to their new responsibility. That's really cool. I think that's kind of similar to the training and skill development perspective, but it's a more encompassing of everything related to change. And then we have online customer support, okay, so enhance the online customer support capability to assist virtual consultants addressing increased compliance and returns. Okay, so we're talking about essentially the whole after you do the sell, what's going to happen, how do you do customer service, and then collaboration with retail partners, coordinate with major retail outlets and online retailers to create opportunity for them to make appearances. So my very first reaction is that it is a very comprehensive framework, right? So we know that it really did a good job of listing out everything and anything associated with shifting to essentially the new model. I think plus for that, what I found it challenging in my perspective, I guess, yes, it looks like it's very structured. It has the 1 to 10. However, it's not really organized in a way that it's kind of easy for me to understand. And then it kind of feels like it's all over the place. You just sort of trying to take out random ideas. However, it is not really grouped properly. It just felt like ChatGPT just decided to have a brainstorm session and was just picking out, random ideas that it can sort of think about. So I think essentially just based off of what this is saying, there are probably a couple buckets that you can group these factors better into. I think the first one will just be on the individual Beautify consultant's perspective, the type of things that you need to do to make sure that those individuals are successful. So for example, the trainings, the technologies, the compensations, the change management. These are the things that really they have to, you have to have in place in order to help the individuals transition to the new role. And then separately, as the company Beautify itself, you also have to make a bunch of changes to really prepare itself to set itself up for this new online model. So that's where we're talking about the brand consistencies, right? The legal and compliance, the organizational structure. Oh, by the way, I forgot the performance metrics, also something that performance metric is something that's sort of both related to the individuals, but also with the company. But I think the company will probably have to do some performance metrics change. And also then online customer support will also be, important functions to set up. The last point feels a little bit, collaboration with retail partners. It just feels kind of out of place. And the other piece that I also want to add is profitability, right? Like the cost. As well as the revenue generation from this, because if we were to tie back to the overall ask, I think the ask is if training the majority of the consultants would be profitable for the company. So you have to think about what is the cost from the Beautify company perspective in terms of training all its employees, and how long would it take actually for all of those change management to happen. And then what is that boost in revenue that we can get, right? This one out of a 5, I want to say probably more of a medium, a 3. Let's see. So, okay, some of the answers. Okay, retail response. how would retailers respond to consuming and buying directly? That's really true as well. So there's also the whole external factors that you also have to consider here, right? So how would the retailers that traditionally that Beautify have been working with respond? How would the competitors also respond? So those are the external factors that you would have to consider when making changes. Current capabilities, I think this is related to sort of, getting the individuals ready, which you hit brand image. Okay, so this is related to the brand consistency perspective. I think what this answer is lacking, it's probably Beautify's internal capability to also make these changes. I want to say that on the suggested answer itself is also not very messy. But it did have slightly better organization in terms of grouping the factors. Let us go to question number 2. So question number 2, again, I'm just gonna copy it here. Question. So one of the key areas that Beautify want to understand is the reaction of the current potential customers to the new social media beauty advisor. So imagine you are a current Beautify customer and you mostly shop at your local department store because you enjoy the high-touch service. What features would kind of make you consider switching? Very interesting. Another, if we consider kind of a framework type of question, just really asking you to figure out, the different dimensions that you need to consider, kind of similar to the first question. All right, it is definitely fast. So plus speed, thinking hard, thinking very hard. I wonder if it's gonna give 10 answers again. Is 10 the default? We even have omnichannel here. All right, another 10 bullet point answer. Let's go through it. Again, it looks extremely comprehensive. So A+ for the comprehensiveness. Okay, so first of all, we have a personalized virtual consultant service. Okay, very good. High touch service. Personalized, that's something that would resonate really well with this type of customer. So we have exclusive online content, tutorials, demonstrations, expert advice. Again, kind of related to the high touch service, which is really good. Customized product recommendations. Okay, anything and everything to do with personalized and customized are definitely really good when it comes to, replace the high touch in-person service to the online service. Easy access to advisors, user-friendly platform, they can easily book appointments. That's also very true because, traditionally you can just go to a store to talk to someone, but now with online, you want to make sure that the same experience, the same convenience still holds true. Virtual try-on features, very interesting. Okay, because you can try it on in person, you want to try it virtually, that's good. Loyalty programs and incentives. Okay, so special loyalty programs, that's geared towards a virtual only. I've seen those implemented at Sephora as well. There are a lot of special products, for example, that are only available online. So good idea. Seamless online shopping experience, easy to navigate website, shopping platform. They can just buy things very easily. We have auto replenishment, wish list, and quick checkouts. I am impressed. Yes. You want to make sure that for those high touch service, right? They can also buy things very easily. Okay, then we have the online community. They can share experiences, ask questions, interact, fostering sense of connection and support. This one, maybe it could be interesting. Actually, this one is really interesting because I do know that a lot of brands, they would do some sort of like in-person events, kind of fostering that community. So I think this is the way to do it online. We have returns. Okay, very interesting. But I feel like this is more or less standard. And then we have this omni-channel. Okay, so it talks about the connection between virtual and in-store. That's a very good point because they probably have a lot of in-store collaborations anyways, from just like essentially how they are set up today. So it would be very awesome actually for a client if I can choose to be in-store or via virtual. I must say with question 2, I am very, very impressed because not only is it a super comprehensive list, but every single answer is pretty relevant. It's actually really relevant to the question that was asked. My only other comment will probably be very similar, which is, I have to, find a way to organize this together. Again, the best way to essentially think about problem solving, think about, figuring out how to get a right framework is to do this top-down communication where you would essentially have the level 1 bucket, and then from there you can then break it down into further. So I want to say like in this case, you can probably bucket it in terms of your shopping journey, right? So we can say that, hey, if we're thinking about the shopping journey, we can be like, okay, how do you engage with the client before they come to you essentially for beauty related shopping? And then when they are there, what are the things, what are the values that you can offer them to help them make a purchase? And when they are ready to make a purchase, what are the things that you can do to make their life a lot easier, let them feel like, they have had a really good experience? And then after they have made the purchase, what are the things that you need to do to make sure that, they're still taken care of, so that's the return, and also create that sense of loyalty for them to keep coming back, which is what the loyalty programs and sort of the online community as well as the omni-channel integration comes in. So if you are able to think about it like that in terms of a client's journey, then a lot of those will naturally be grouped together and it'll be a lot easier to think through. Okay, let's review the answers. Okay, real-time feedback, join online social community, learn about the latest trends from someone you trust. I think that's the personalized content. Respond probably to a particular concern. Okay, I think that's also like this customized product recommendations and easy access for consultants. So I want to say actually the suggested answer doesn't do a good job of actually showing you what it is, so maybe ChatGPT actually have better answers. Alrighty, okay, let's go to the next one. Next one is a math question. Okay, let's just copy paste content. Okay, question. All right, just making sure all the format is right. Okay, so while ChatGPT is thinking, we can talk through the next one. So in this case, we have you run some math. We had ChatGPT run some math. So they want to really understand, how long would we be able to pay off the investment? So incremental revenues are greater than cost of the project. So here are some of the basics. We have over increase the incremental value or revenue from sales and new customers, blah, blah, assume will happen in the first year. Okay, so you expect 10% overall increase because you will get new revenue, but you'll also lose some other brands because of in-store. This will happen in first year, okay. So in the first year, you will get that 10%. In the first year, they'll also invest 50 million IT, 25 million training, 50 million remote. So that's the cost that you have. And then all in yearly cost, that's more or less like a variable, would be 10 million and will start during the first year. And Beautify revenue currently is 1.3 billion. 1.5 years for the investment to be profitable. Let's see. Oh my goodness. That is very impressive. Okay, let's look at its thought process. Cool. Wow, it actually breaks it down for you really well. First, let's calculate the incremental revenue increase for the first year. Okay. So the incremental is 130 million. Total investment going cost in the first year. So we have all of those costs that's added up, which is 160 million, that's correct. And net profit or net loss in the first year, and we have revenue minus total, which is minus 30. So after 30 of the first year, we will have a loss of 30 million. However, the ongoing cost is 10 and incremental is 130. So we can just use 30 divided by 120, which is 0.25. I want to say that this is actually really, really good. It not only gives you the right answer, but actually walk you through the thought process. And the math in the end is correct. Although the one thing that I want to point out is that in a real case interview, you also want to actually be able to provide the so what, which is extremely important, the so what after you do the math. Obviously with ChatGPT, it can't really expect that, maybe, because I asked more or less a straightforward question. So maybe I'll give it another opportunity. Question, so what can you tell me from the 1.225 year? So yeah, what does that mean? How does that take us close to the final recommendation? Okay. We can infer the following. It actually is giving me the so what. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so what is saying that, okay, in 1.5 years, you'll be profitable. And so, okay, so a couple things you can infer. It's fast to yield positive return, okay. Initial phase, ongoing cost is pretty low, so incremental, okay, as companies to see positive return on ROI, they can reinvest and it's crucial monitoring ongoing performance to adjust the strategy. I want to say it's actually pretty good in terms of giving this so what, like from the 1.25, it is true that 1.25 in terms of a payback period, it's really, really short, right? And then it is because the upside is really high and the downside is sort of that the additional cost is relatively low, and also that it did a good job of actually saying that, hey, let's adjust, let's make sure that we do reinvest, and then so we can keep seeing that revenue growth. But at the same time, the adjustment is really important because, we have so many competitors out there and they may do the same as Beautify. So you always want to keep a competitive advantage, making sure that you adjust to essentially the market needs, the client needs. Very good. Okay, so that is it for the questions that they have, but I know that if you are in a real consulting interview, this is the step where you are required to give the final recommendation. So let's ask ChatGPT. Cool, let's see what our ChatGPT says. Okay, still thinking, maybe it's stuck. Thinking. I've actually seen candidates get stuck during when they're trying to answer questions. In this case, if you ever encounter that, don't worry. Take a deep breath, take a step back, organize yourself like what ChatGPT did here, and then just give it another go. Okay, so based on the analysis and given the shift, I would recommend it has the potential to be profitable because it projects to break even in 1.25 years. However, a few things you wanted to consider. One, you want to continually monitor and adjust the strategy. You want to invest in training and skill development. You want to implement a robust change management plan. You want to maintain a balanced virtual in-store experience. It sounds like they probably won't keep the in-store experience, but that's something that we can consider. In conclusion, transitioning to customer can be a profitable strategy by investing in the right resource. They can definitely make this happen and adapt to the evolving retail landscape. That is a very, very good recommendation, because typically the key or like the trick to giving a good recommendation is you want to start off with what your recommendation is. In this case, yes, I would recommend they would do this. Why would you make this recommendation? 1 to 3. In this case, you said, hey, it has the potential. We did the math, it'll be good in 1.25 years. So because of the trend and also the math. And you would then add on to say, hey, however, I think there's a few things you need to consider, or a few things you need to watch out for, or a few additional analysis, right? So in this case, it did offer the additional considerations in order for you to move forward, things you want to consider in the implementation phase. So I want to say it actually did a really good job. So would I actually pass ChatGPT in the case interview? Overall, I think it actually did really well. Probably consider passing it for a couple of reasons. First of all, it clearly had a structure in terms of presenting the ideas, and it is extremely comprehensive, right? When it comes to the different factors, when it comes to the different things you want to consider. And then second, it also did the right math, right? It has the capability to run some back of the napkin math, and pretty good job in terms of giving the implications once you prompt it. And then the third piece is that I love the communications, right? It's very succinct, it's very brief, but it's very also to the point. So the communication piece is very structured and very easy. If I were to actually give ChatGPT a bit of a feedback, it would just be, they need to group your ideas better, so it doesn't look like you're just randomly brainstorming, picking things left and right, and that may result you actually lose a few points from time to time. Yeah, it is actually really impressive how far AI has gone, how smart ChatGPT is. But I also wonder if ChatGPT is going to, further impact management consulting industry in the future. Will companies still want to hire management consultant now that powerful AI tools like ChatGPT exist and will continuously get better? Stay tuned for my next video. Until next time, bye!